He is Jalen Anthony Rose.
What up, though?
I'm David Jacoby.
And on the cool check-in.
Together we're Jalen Jacoby. What exactly is it that we do, Mr. Anthony Rose?
Give the people what they want.
Yes, we do. We have the championship duo of AD and LeBron falling short to Steph last night. We also have the man, Ryan Garcia, superstar boxer, joining us later in the show. But we start with one of the best regular season games I've seen in a long time. That was between the new look Nets and the Milwaukee Bucks, a back and forth battle that went down to the wire, and it was KD, the Slim Reaper, from the top of the key off a rebound from Harden to ice the victory for the Nets. Jalen, I know you're watching every second of this one. What did you see from the Nets last night?
Do you see what I see? Do you hear what I hear? Jacoby, we have must-see TV. Each night, League Pass, Eastern Standard Time. These guys have made themselves the proverbial villain in sports. KD left the Splash Brothers and is returning from an Achilles injury. Put him in the conversations of top player in the game already. James Harden, back-to-back triple-doubles on a new squad. It's a pecking order we got going on in the East, and they did it against the Bucks. They did it against the Bucks. James Harden is putting up elite level numbers his first couple of games.
He really is. He did not quite reach a triple-double, but he was almost at a triple-double last night. It looked so good to see him in that black as the true villains of the NBA creating this super team. I'm not going to overreact to one regular season game in January against the Bucks. Oh, wait, yes, I am. Yes, I am. This is the team to beat in the East. And against these Bucks, who they may meet in the playoffs, perhaps, the Eastern Conference Finals, it's notable to see how they defended Giannis, something that you noticed as well. What did you see about how they went at Giannis on the defensive end?
So that's classic mental manipulation. That's not just about Giannis' percentages or his ability or inability to shoot the ball. Because if that was a point guard or a wing, you wouldn't back off of them like that. But based on the geometry of the floor, since Giannis plays a lot of four or point center with Lopez in the center, in the corner, now you're basically saying, we want your big man to come down and shoot it from 30 feet each time. And we're gonna play those percentages. And so everybody stands back and watches because you know he's gonna make all of his dunks. And I remember he made a strong dunk in the first half. I saw the Nets bench in the back like, whatever, dog. You really gonna celebrate like that? I know James Harden was like, yeah, remember I told y'all when I was in Houston that he was just getting dunks? So they're trying to mentally manipulate the back-to-back MVP. So what Giannis needs to do, Jacoby, is continue to play with pace and continue to play with force. If they're gonna give you that space, you occupy it. That's what you do. If you don't want to walk into a three, then you take up that space and you turn that into a downhill play and or into a pull-up jumper. But you know what else you can do? Dribble handoffs. It can be other action, passes, quick screen-aways. So now that Middleton can turn the corner. They tried it with Forbes a couple of times. He just missed the shot. So for the Milwaukee Bucks, there's so many things offensively they can do to take advantage of a team like the Nets that's going to try to force Giannis to shoot all three-pointers. But there are also things he can do as a player to continue to attack and take up that space. And then also make DeAndre Jordan work, who had a double-double, was catching lobs, and ended up being a game-changing player along with Joe Harris for the Nets.
DeAndre Jordan shoots 1,000% from the field in like 10 of 12 games thus far. But one thing to note about DeAndre Jordan, you know I love Jared Allen, I'm going to miss him on these Nets, is he played over 37 minutes last night. And I don't know if that is a recipe moving forward night after night after night. Now, One thing I do want to pay attention to is just what James Harden brings to this offense. He is like the sun. He has a gravitational pull towards him. Like, if they just double him, triple him, they leave KD wide open for a dunk. That's Kevin Durant wide open for a dunk. And then at the end of the game, everyone's focused on Harden. That leaves KD, again, one of the best scorers that's ever held a basketball, wide open 4-3. His assisting is just going to go up. That gravitational pull that he brings this offense is going to make those dunks that you saw from DeAndre Jordan, the open threes from Joe Harris, who hit a big one at the end of the game. And I cannot believe this, but Kevin Durant gets left open from defenses. The elephant in the room is actually not that big. He's actually kind of small, and it is a gentleman by the name of Kyrie Irving. We have some new information as to his whereabouts. In just hours, Kyrie Irving is going to play NBA basketball. That's right. He's expected to join Nets practice today, just right in front of a back-to-back, or a doubleheader, I should say, not a back-to-back, against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Sounds like a good backcourt that potentially they could mix it up against. Jalen, what does Kyrie Irving have to do when he steps in this locker room to reestablish himself in this new-look Nets?
Well, there's the score of the game and the game of life, and I do want to acknowledge him purchasing a home for the family of George Floyd,
Salute.
the gentleman who was killed at the knee of an officer in Minnesota for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. For Kyrie to do that, and the charitable things that he's been done have been very notable. As he returns to this basketball team in that locker room, the pieces on the chessboard have changed, Jacoby, because at first he was the lead domino. KD was coming off an Achilles injury, and somebody needed to sign on the dotted line to hold it down and create an incubator for KD to return and be working on building something special. Kyrie signs, KD signs, and then all of a sudden, Kyrie goes out with personal reasons. And they trade for James Harden, somebody KD has played with before, and also is going to be a high-volume assist player, flirt with triple-doubles, and get his numbers different than Kyrie, which actually doesn't mean they have to necessarily take turns. I know a lot of the plays that they did weren't like assisted toward one another, but like you broke down, there are a couple of plays where they concentrated so much on Harden that KD was wide open. And then KD got a late three also. Kyrie used to having that thing in his hands, Jacoby, and he ain't necessarily used to being a spot-up player or a player that's gonna do a lot of cutting. So will they make it work? Absolutely. But it will take a lot of sacrifice. But man, the Nets are loaded. It is must-see TV.
Exactly like you finished. It is must-see TV. I have never been so excited for a Nets-Cavs game than I am for tomorrow night's matchup between those two teams. I will have all the popcorn, and I expect not only this backcourt to show up and show something special, but the Cleveland Cavaliers backcourt has been playing pretty well this year too. Sexland. I'd like to see them play some defense against these two. Now, Jalen, the Nets have a duo that is soon going to be a trio.
He hasn't played since January 5th. We also don't think we've heard from him since January 5th either. The good news today is that he practiced, most importantly, and he also just sat down to speak with the media. That is new on SportsCenter. Listen.
Hey, Kyrie, welcome back. Hope all is well. This team looks different since the last time you were out there on the floor. First, just your reaction to the deal and what the energy is like as you try to put everything together as a group.
Very excited. You know, just to have James here, obviously letting go of some of the pieces that have been here in the Nets organization for a while, even before I got here. You know, it's going to be hard regardless. It's just the nature of the business. We're all brothers still, you know, so we're just moving on into the next phase of just developing as a team and just building some camaraderie and having fun.
Can you shed some light on what the last couple of weeks have been like for you and the time you needed off?
There's a lot of family and personal stuff going on, so just want to leave it at that.
Otis Livingston, CBS New York.
Hey, Kyrie, welcome back. As you look at the makeup of the team and how successful they have been, how do you see yourself fitting back in? because you had obviously a huge role before, now coupled with James Harden in the mix?
Like I said, it's just really exciting, just to be able to play with great players that have, just been here in the league for a while, have been through ups and downs, the peaks and valleys. So, James is aligned with us in terms of just experience, and adding that to our locker room is going to be great for us.
Malika Andrews, ESPN.
Hi, Kyrie. I'm wondering if you were aware that you had violated the health and safety protocols and what that process was like for you in coming back and going through that investigation, one, and then secondly, what your communication was like with the team while you were away.
Happy to be back. Happy to be around these guys, address the team, address everybody that need to be addressed. Now it's time to move on.
Bruce
On
Beck,
the health and safety
New
front?
York. I'm sorry, Malika, go ahead.
I just was circling back on the health and safety front.
Happy to be back. Thank you.
Bruce Beck, NBC New York.
Kyrie, how supportive have your teammates and the organization been during this time?
It's been great. It's been enough support for me to